I want to put it out for questions, and then what we'll do is I'll just ask one of the panel members if you like the question. You can.
I'm wondering, in credit, they're so grade-driven that I find sometimes they're not really very honest when you put out a poll about, I do it all the time, and their focus is not on the journey, unfortunately, many times, but just on the end result. And so I'm wondering if you've had this experience with credit, when you try to poll them and.
Well, I mean, I suppose you could choose essay topics or reading topics based on the interests or needs of the students. So if you knew, for example, that they were going under credit, but that their focus was that they were going to become a lawyer, that you might be able to include some sorts of readings or writings. I mean, I guess you probably couldn't individualize that too much, but as Erin was showing, in her workshop, a great collection of readings that she had for as giving a choice to students, you might be able to do something like that. But I also just wanted to say that what I was saying was not so much that it's the journey, but I think in both cases, credit, non-credit, there are objectives. There's an endpoint. There's a place where we're trying to get to, and it's not so much the journey, but there are alternate paths on how to get there.
Yeah,
and
it's the feedback I'm questioning. the validity or I always ask the students, and it's the feedback that they're really reluctant to give because they're afraid it's going to have something to do with their grades.
So I've actually done that in my credit classes, in my humanities classes, and we have to, because we're so impacted by enrollment, that we have to know what's going on in the classroom to capture those students. And we've done all our feedbacks anonymous, and they're not selection of information. They actually have to write it out. And I find that in that writing, you can actually hear the truth.
Another question?
Also that, so in terms of, so I was answering more in terms of how to get there, but sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. But,
the changes of student population. Could you, is the Chinatown campus, or could you maybe extrapolate that to some of the other campuses as well?
Well, when I was talking to the deans and I was talking to my colleagues here, I was primarily concerned about Chinatown, but I think the statistics is pretty much more for San Francisco. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but in the North Beach area, the North Beach neighborhood has the highest senior population. So since we're here and North Beach is right there, we get all of the seniors. That population is shrinking. And because of the technology, because of who we are as the city of San Francisco and the Silicon Valley, we are getting that middle group, and they're coming in strong. And we also get a lot more international students now, not just Chinese. Yeah, I have Cubans, I have Italians, I have Indians from India, I have Brazilians, who am I missing?
We're not getting that in credit at all.
So
I'm at all. Yeah, we're getting them, but it's
Any other questions?
Just to add to what Julia was saying, that I just think it's interesting. I teach at I give IELTS tests, which is a competitor of TOEFL, downtown, and there's been a huge influx of Saudis. But I think it's because, and Julia probably knows more about this than I do, that I think the King of Saudi Arabia gave scholarships to like tons of people. So they're all here for a limited time.
4 years of degree programs. So they're all trying to get language in for 1 year. And a lot of my Saudi students prefer the IELTS because you talk to a person in their interview. And the TOEFL is like you talk into the computer on a microphone, and it's really weird. And they're better with the face-to-face communication usually.
But so that's probably a limited time trend.
Yeah.
All those
If it keeps going, I don't know. Any questions?
I'm really interested in that question.
Okay, so One of the things I want to say, this is anecdotal, but I teach low level in credit, and this is a trend that I've seen in my classes. And so some people say, oh, well, students just self-select for Leah Smith's class, but you can't really say that about the beginning level if the students are brand new to City College and they don't have this network of friends. In 110, I have 31 students. 30 of them want either an AA degree, a transfer to university, or UC.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it's the global market. Their parents are willing to let them stay in school for 10 years, if that's what it's going to take, to get a BA or go on to a master's degree. And so these students are very directed, and they will leave if we're not giving them a path that they see that they're going to make where they want to go. The other number I wanted to throw out too, which I'll continue to do work this semester, is I asked what the gap was between the number of students who take the placement tests, and this is all placement tests at City College, and then who actually enter our school. And there, our researcher guy, Steve Sperling, looked at the numbers, and he said in the last 10 years, there's a 16% drop-off. And I think that means that 16% of the students who come to City College and take the placement test, credit and non-credit, don't show up for classes, ever, or in 10 years. And so that's also an area that we can think about, is why are we not capturing those students? So it's a little bit tangential. So so the question here, I'm going to try to find the data on this. And this one is, I think, something that everybody in credit and non-credit needs to know. So Laura can back me up on this. If students start at the low levels, the likelihood of them completing is much lower than if they come in at a high level. A lot of students want to quickly test into credit so that they can get financial aid. But financial aid actually is limited. And so it's much better if when they come in to credit, they're at a really high level. And if this is communicated to non-credit students who are trying to go that pathway, it's like, you come in here and like you make this a super class for you. You come to class, you do your homework so that you can test. And if there was some sort of conversation where you're in non-credit and then you take the credit placement test, you place 110. No, not good enough. You go back to non-credit. You keep on the non-credit. That's it.
I know back at 0 in the credit, but I really want that confirmed by someone with knowledge, because I'm worried that it's great they're getting it and they're staying on credit, but if they are intending later to go to credit, they're going to have used up all their financial aid, and then they're stuck when it's more expensive. Is that so? Is someone really knowledgeable about that?
Laura?
Well, no, actually, I can't address that. Those are two technical financial aid questions. That's a good question. No, I just want to say that, yeah, we do have a lot of data saying that the higher the level they transfer from non-credit into credit classes, not only their higher success level that semester, but their chances of completing the credit program. So we've done a lot of work with counseling to educate the counselors about that, and the situation has improved greatly. The counselors know that, and they're the ones who communicate with the students in the steps to credit programs.
But the instructors also are communicating with students.
Yes. It's primarily counselors, and they are aware.
Great. Let's go to Jessica.
So my kids are in public school in the city, and they use a term called differentiation, which means everyone is in the same class, but according to the student's level and needs, the teacher is supposed to address them. And I think kind of listening to what everyone has said in here so far, that's one of the things we're talking about trying to address, which is always an issue in an ESL class. But especially talking about the transfer to credit, you know, in my level 4, I have some students who probably could get through level 4 and level 5 and level 6 in one semester if they were allowed that kind of to explore some higher level things. And you know, I think using the technology with students who already have that knowledge is a way to allow them to do that on a shorter time frame, to you know, have resources on a tech enhanced course or something like that, where a student could say, you know, I already know the simple past, I want to take a look at some resources to study as imperfect or whatever it is, where you can offer that to a student who's in level 4 and they can accelerate themselves, right? And then maybe get higher on this before they get into credit.
They
So-
really need to be passed for it.
So, our next workshop is coming. I want to thank my panel members.